The 10-second version of this video is that I believe that everything happens for a reason because life is way more fun when I believe that. What I know is that I don't get to know whether or not things happen for a reason in life. So what I'm left with is what I get to choose to believe. And I've been the person to extremely choose to say everything is all science, to be really spiritual about science, and to say that nothing can happen for some grander purpose or reason because that's hippie bullshit. And I've been the super hippie person to say everything's happening for a reason all the time, and every set of numbers and every single thing that I see has so much meaning that I need to unpack and understand to really connect with my humaning. And those are both extremes, I've learned, and maybe is helpful to someone who is on one of those extremes. And feel like I've at least somewhat touched both of those walls, where I come to now is that it feels good to believe that there is some sort of a grander plan. Grander plan makes it sound more orderly than the feeling of it. Structure feels like a more accurate word to say that there's some bigger structure and sequencing of when I meet certain people in my life or go to certain places or witness certain things, and it helps me to go into that observer sort of perspective that I get to watch the show of this one human life that's happening and the journeys that lead to other journeys. It gets like talking about free will, even it just immediately gets meta. It's inevitably meta to talk about free will and decision making. And so something about beliefs and believing in there's a part of the discomfort that I had when I really rejected and resisted any notion of things happening for a reason was that it felt like this hands off of responsibility. It felt as if I let myself believe that things happen for a reason, then somehow that would not be claiming ownership of my decision making. Maybe that's a similar experience that you've had, where for me and for people I've talked to who have had similar experiences, it comes from this really great it comes from this place of caring a lot about ownership and taking personal authority. I feel like that's where I get so attached to free will, is to say, well, otherwise what am I claiming as responsibility and action and an exchange? What am I giving back to the universe to get to be here? If that resonates with you, I hope it does. I hope it resonates with somebody. It will resonate with one person. She gets off track because it's uncomfortable to talk about purpose and belief and free will, because it gets spiritual and woo-woo to a point, again, inevitably. And humans collectively are sort of figuring out how to talk about spirituality without it being connected to organized religion all the time. And also to talk about how spirituality and science overlap and are the same thing, and it's all magic. It's all doing the same stuff. In a chemical reaction, for example, or you could do some lab experiment where things need to happen in a certain order to happen, however they happen. And to me, that's a sort of like a lab science equivalent of the more spiritual, emotional life happenings that the order of events impacts the experience. And that there's a reason for timing, and there's a reason for what is happening when. my emotional parts get all sorts of butthurt and entertained and all of the things by not getting to know. I have this big piece of me that feels the need to know, to be in the know, to know what's going on. And so it's a weird yes and to say, yes, I believe that everything's happening for a reason. And I believe that I don't always get to know that reason. In fact, a lot of the time, most of the time while it's happening, I don't get to know that reason. Good one. It's a pretty goofy game. Somebody who's something that is orchestrating. I don't know. I used to get so triggered when people would say the God word, the G word. I would be like, cool, I'm done listening to this human, like really shut it down. I was so spiritual and religiously believing in science that I totally rejected that. And so when people would say God has a plan, my whole being would eye roll. And here I am now saying that there's something bigger, that there's some structure, there is some plan, there is some arrangement that is more than, of course, any one person is going to be able to see, because I'm only seeing things through one perspective. Even when I was super dogmatically believing in science, I still had this belief in human connection and how there is something larger than any one human, because the interactions between humans and the communities and bigger networks of humans and how they create things, and on all the levels, from a one-on-one individual human connection to large-scale human connections, even my most rigid science mind can conceptualize how that's bigger than one individual human. And so I can accept that there's more that I don't see. There's more out there that I won't be able to see. And so then this is where faith and spiritual woo-woo, all of the things come in to say, do I choose to believe that it's there even if I can't see it? And so then science part of me comes up and is like, no, you need proof, you need numbers, you need data, where's the fucking graph? And like super, like Annie who lived in a car, raw vegan, super extreme spirituality. Like a fruitarian Annie is like, you feel this through your chakras. Totally laughing at past versions of me. Fluffing my hair to come to this version of me. Because apparently this was how I was supposed to film this video, and this was the timing that I was supposed to do this, and oh, the trust word, the faith word and the trust word. Clearly, I needed a reminder of my faith, a way to help myself trust that everything happens for a reason. It's funny to me because objectively, life is more fun and life is easier when I believe that. So what a clusterfuck to make more work for myself to not believe that. Does anyone else feel that way about it? I actually, as I reflect back in my talking this out loud, when I was really dogmatic about science as this is the only right answer, I remember really wanting, really wishing to have that faith in something bigger. And when I was really rigidly anti-science, I remember wanting to have that groundedness in reality, in what is happening in this 3D existence. Clearly, I get really passionate about science and spirituality and how they intersect and how it comes together, and how they can both remind us that things happen for reasons. and then be used to investigate those reasons, or investigate why I'm resisting needing there to be a reason. Because, what if the reason is just beingness? And on that getting hyper Yoda meta note, thank you for tuning in. Please let me know any sort of reflections or questions or ideas that this brought up for you about your experiences, about whether or not you believe that things happen for a reason, about maybe super science, super spiritual perspectives, or super cool blends of how those are coming together to reflect on some of these questions. And please share, like, subscribe, click, do the things. Check out the website, check out the podcast, check out the blog post, check out yourself and your feelings and your beliefs. I'm out on that one.